Hi, welcome to Mixed Media Creations with me, Creative Katie, Karen Burchill. Check me out on Instagram, find out what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. Also, don't forget to subscribe by hitting the icon in the lower right-hand corner. Today, we have a mixed media mini tutorial, Do Small Things with Great Love. This video is also great for Create With Me. Grab your mini of your choice, some book text, some cardboard with the top peeled off to expose the ridges, and a heart shape. Don't forget to post your mini to my Facebook group, Mixed Media Creations. So I started out with an AT size mini. And this is just recycled paper from the backs or from the packaging from my stencil. And I put a coat of gesso. So I had this book text, exactly this shape, dictionary text, sitting on my desk for a while. And that was kind of the goal here. I've also had this cardboard sitting here. And I've seen people using this, adding some wonderful texture and whatever to their works, but I've never used it. So today was the day. Now I've kept most of this video in real time, and that's why it's perfect for a Create With Me. Now, while you may be using some of the same components, your color choices, your embellishment, everything could be different. The key is it's like a create date with a friend. So I'm applying both the book paper and this cardboard with gel medium. And I'm not sure why I'm fussing around here, but I just want to be sure that this cardboard stays down. So I'm being rather generous with the gel medium, which then takes a little bit of time to dry. I put a coat of white gesso on top of this, and then I used a baby wipe to rub off some of it to show the book text and the color in the cardboard, because I've decided that I'm going to use some of that in my final design. Now you can go any color you want. Now this Lindy Starburst Spray is Steampunk Sepia, and there's like just the last dredges are in here. And in a minute I'm going to give up the ghost trying to do this way, and I grab a paintbrush and I apply it with a paintbrush. And I just want to make this look antiqued and aged, like with those colors. And I chose to use my Starburst because I wanted some of the shimmer that is so amazing with these Starbursts. I live in Canada, and it's one of the only things I paid shipping from the States to get, because I was having a lot of difficulty finding them in Canada, exactly the colors that I wanted and everything. So in between, I am drying it and then just putting on more and just kind of letting it drip, catching in the rips of the paper, catching, in the gesso, so you get lights and darks and some interest stuff. I'm guiding it a little bit where I want it to be, but then I'm also kind of open to, where it falls. Now, if you don't have the Starburst sprays, you can use a brown paint, an ink, a watercolor, and just let it drip in the same way to get that effect. As with most things, there are many ways to get a similar effect using different mediums. And I'm tapping it to make those drips go down. So then I grab my Distress ink, and I think this is Walnut Stain, and get my applicator out of that round tube. And I'll put a link to that storage idea because it works so well for my Distress inks. And I'm just edging it along the outside. Now, the walnut stain is a little darker than the steampunk sepia, and so it's just adding more interest. And then I decide I'm just going to apply a little bit of this on some high points on the card as well. And you can see how that just built it up. Now, this heart is a textured embellishment that I just made in a recent video, and I'll put a link to that video as well. Now, if you've watched some of my videos, you know that I have a box full of sentiments. You know, when I come up with sentiments, I type them, play around with the fonts, print them off, and then I just kind of put them in a box and I have them at the ready. So my goal for doing these minis is to not have to go and rush out and start printing off stuff again. It's to use, you know, things that I already have. And that just makes the creating time a little bit shorter. So I'm applying the walnut stain to the edges of all these words. And it says, "Do small things with great love." It's a quote from Mother Teresa. Now I used the same burgundy cherry red that I used for the heart, and I splattered on top. And this just makes it tie in with the heart. So if your heart was navy blue or teal, then you would splatter with those colors, because you want it to coordinate, you want to tie in. Usually a good rule of thumb is wherever you, if you have one color somewhere, you want to introduce it somewhere else. And that just leads to a cohesive page. So I'm putting on a fairly thick coat of gel medium on the back of this textured heart because I'm placing it on top of the cardboard. So it's not getting 100%, it's not touching 100% of the back of it. So I'm pushing, pushing my finger, holding it there, and actually kind of off camera, I kind of put a weight on it. Now I grab my archival black. I just want the edges to be just a little bit darker than what they are. And quite often when I do edging, I do one or two colors, and I like the look of that. It's a good trick. And you can see how that instantly framed this and set this apart. And I'm putting that little bit of black around the words as well. It's a little something, but it did make a big difference. So this takes a little bit of time. It's fiddly little stuff, but it's well worth it. So get your fingers inky and do it. Now, if you're doing a mini, it could be an ATC size, which is 2.5 by 3.5 inches. It could be the size of an iCAD, 4 by 6 or 5 by 7. So anything, 5 by 7 and smaller, I would classify as a mini. And minis, they're kind of risk-free. It's short and simple and kind of frees up. And when I started art journaling and mixed media, I couldn't do the whole page. A big page kind of scared me. And I found my way doing ATCs and this size mini. Somehow it just, helped me get over that fear. And I've kind of, moved these letters, the words going this way and that way till it was pleasing to the eye. I don't attempt to make it straight and even. That way, no one can say, ooh, this one's out of place. It's a little trick I learned doing thousands of bulletin boards as a teacher. Never tried to put the letters straight, and therefore they were never crooked. Now, if you've used distress ink or any water-soluble ink on this, it will move when you put the gel medium on. So you got to be a little more careful because you don't want to smudge that and wreck what you have. But if you're gentle, you can get away with applying just a little bit of it, like you just saw me do here. As I'm looking at this, I'm thinking this would be perfect to add a little bit of twine or jute on there. File that idea away for another day. I really enjoyed using the cardboard in this one, and I think I definitely will be using it again to create, be it a mini or a full-size mixed media piece. So I get out my fine liner, and this is just black paint, and I'm just very sketchily, if that's a word, going around the edge. And that, again, just gives it a little bit more framing and just sets off the whole thing. So I've decided that I am going to turn these minis into fridge magnets. So I am putting a coat of black acrylic paint, but you could use black gesso as well if you have it. I just figured more people have just black acrylic paint, and I'm putting a coat on the back of this ATC, this mini. Now this is a fridge magnet. It's advertising for the realtor that sold our house. And I'm just cutting it. I've used the card, the playing card there, as a guide. It's roughly the same size as the ATC. And I just want to make it a little bit thinner than the ATC or the card. And then I'm just cutting narrow strips. And I just eyeballed this. I wasn't overly precise. I tried to get them about as even as possible so it looks nice. But that's about it. And you can see that the size is there. Then I grabbed my Gorilla Glue, and that's what I have. Find some glue that's going to work. This is kind of a shiny surface. It's plasticky, so I wasn't sure what would work, but I'm fairly confident that the Gorilla Glue will work. And I'm putting a strip at the top and a strip at the back. I don't know that it's necessary to put on the whole back. So here's a close-up of the finished mini. I hope you like it. I hope you create your own mini using some of the same materials, and don't forget to post it on my Facebook group. Bye!